Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for watching. So today I've got yet another ColourPop palette. I know this may be the last one for palettes from ColourPop for a little while. This is the Whatever palette. It's got some stunning colours in there as usual, and they're really very affordable. So I've done this look today for you. It's a Mulberry, Cranberry, Rose Gold, Halo Eye. So let's get started. Alright, so I'm starting off with my P.Louise base in Rumour 01 on a P.Louise brush. And I'm just going to prime my eyes. So I'm going to pop this all over, right up to the brow, into the inner corner. And right out. And then I'm just going to go in and set that with Vanilla Bean from Makeup Geek. It's a really light vanilla colour on a NARS 42 large fluffy brush. I'm just going to run over that P.Louise base. So I'm just going to go into the palette. I'm going to go into the darkest colour in the palette, which is the one on the bottom here, real mulberry wine colour. And that's called Ms. Brightside. It's really quite dark. So I'm going to go in with a Urban Decay contour brush. So it's really small, nice sort of bullet head, rounded head on it. And I'm just going to tap into that product there. I want to create a little bit more of a rounded shape today rather than my elongated, winged out sort of shape that I do out here. So I want to start here and tap that product in and try and create a real round shape. Now because I have hooded eyes, I need to make sure this goes up higher than my natural crease, which is way down here. So I'm going to create another halo eye today. I've got a halo fetish going on. So I need this colour to be high enough so that when I do cut that, I can still see that colour. I'm going right down into the inner corner. Alright, so I've got that colour in. It's really quite purple, mulberry colour. So I'm going to go into maybe later, which is a fair bit lighter than that first colour there. And then I'm just going to use a Real Techniques shading brush. That's really quite small. So I'm going to go into that colour. And I just want to go around the very edges of that and place that in. All the way around. So this is a little bit more of a precise look today. I ordinarily do blow out a lot of my shadow looks, but I'm trying to create a little bit more of a round, a bit more precise look today. And then taking my MAC 217, I'm just going to go around the edge of that colour and just blend out the very edge. Now I don't want to change the shape too much at all. I'm just blending, so I'm really just going on the edge of that colour and just going backwards and forwards, tiny little movements. And then I want to go back into maybe later, again on that Real Techniques brush. And I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of product and then just blend over the top of that mulberry or purple colour, just right on the edge. And then I just want to blend that edge out just a little bit more. So I'm going to go in with the really light suede sort of colour there, which is called Copycat. And I'm going to go in on the same brush, the 217, and just on the edge of that blend, go in with that. Now I want to make sure before I go in and cut that halo center that that dark color on both sides is pretty well even. So I've got a good concentration of color in there. Now before I cut my crease or the halo today, I'm going to go in with some micellar water, and I just want to get off a bulk amount of that purple that's on the lid there. So I don't want to go anywhere near the outer and inner corners. I want to keep that colour there, so I want to mainly get it off here because this is where I'm going to be popping some nice rose gold shimmer. It's not going to show up if I've got a really dark colour underneath. So I'm just going along in a general semicircle shape and trying to get rid of most of that colour. And then I'm just going to go over with a dry cotton bud just to dry that micellar water off. So you can see underneath that I've got pretty much a clean canvas. Now that gives you just a little bit more of an idea of where to cut the crease as well. So I'm going to go back in with my P.Louise, same colour, and I'm going to use my 242 from MAC. And it's quite flat already from washing it. I've actually flattened it out after I washed it. So I'm going to go into the product, flatten it out as much as I can again. Make sure I've got enough product on the brush, and I just want to go in where I'm going to cut. So ordinarily that would be, if you've got really hooded eyes, you need to look down and make your cut where it's going to transfer, which is right there. Push the brush in and pull it back down. And just get a general shape first up without being too pedantic about the line that you're creating. So I find sometimes if I get too carried away with trying to get that line perfect first up, I can go too high and add too much product on to the lid. Now I want to make sure that's generally the same width here. So really basically the width of my brush is roughly the width of my brush where I finished there. Now I can go back in and just tidy it up just a little bit more. Now I'm not going to go in and do the other eye just yet. I just want to concentrate on this eye so that nothing transfers anywhere else, nothing sort of spreads. So I'm just going to go in again with the, this is the NARS 42. I just want to tap off any excess product, making sure you're staying within those lines. And then I want to use TTYN, which is a rose gold colour there on the bottom, and I'm going to go on to my Makeup Forever 240 brush with that. Looks like a beautiful colour in the pan. I just want to tap that all over the middle. Right up to that line. And then I'm going to go back in with the Real Techniques shader brush. I'm just going to wipe it off a little just on the towel on my desk and back into maybe later which was that second colour we put in there, and I'm just going to pop that in that edge just to blend a little. I'm going in pretty much a straight line first up to get the colour in. Okay, so that colour's in. I'm just going to wipe that off just a little bit as well, again on the towel. I'm just going to diffuse that line. Basically just moving that colour onto the shimmer colour a little, and then I'm just going to go between these two colours, the lighter and the darker colour, just to blend that as well. Alrighty, so I have gone ahead and done some lashes, and I put a bit of Marc Jacobs Blacker in the tight line area, and of course I've done the rest of my face. So I'm just going in now with a smudge brush and that dark colour which was called Ms. Brightside. I'm just going right along the lash line with that. It's a smudger brush, right up into the inner corner there. And then I'm just going to grab my I think this Sigma E47, and I'm going to go back into that lighter colour maybe later, and just right along underneath that colour, just blend the edge of it. And then with that lighter colour around the exterior there, I'm going to go back in with a clean blending brush from Real Techniques into Copycat. And I'm just going to pop that underneath. And then I want to use another Marc Jacobs highliner, gel eyeliner. This one's in Fine Wine, so it's a reddish colour. So going into the lash line there, into the waterline. And then lastly, lips, I'm using ColourPop. It's a rose gold. It's ultra metallic, and I think the colour is called Glam, but it's a rose gold colour. So no lip liner today as such. I'm just going to go straight in. Alrighty, so that's it for today's video. I really do like that. That palette is gorgeous. The mulberry and cranberry colours in there, and that beautiful rose gold. That's absolutely gorgeous. I really love it on my lid. It's beautiful. Now you can do some more orangey sort of looks with this, because there's a fair range of like a warm brown there and a copper, and there's a real gold glitter in that as well. So absolutely beautiful palette as well from ColourPop. They're just churning them out. It's fantastic. So if you like my look, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Click on that notifications bell so you do get notified when I upload another video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.